Hey, hello, this is Liz Wright from Liz at Home in sunny South Africa. I'd like to welcome you to my channel again today, and today will be the first of my Watercolor Wednesday videos. I'm hoping to make this a series, and I'm starting this series off by a very short history of watercolor painting. This picture you see on your screen is from the internet. It is not my personal property, and it's just showing a number of watercolor paints. So watercolor painting is a method in which the paints are made of pigment suspended in a water-based solution. The name watercolor refers to both the medium of watercolor and to the resulting artwork. The most conventional and most used surface for watercolor painting is watercolor paper, although it's often done on other surfaces as well. The watercolor paper is often made entirely or partially with cotton, and this arches or arche paper is a very good 100% cotton paper that one can buy today. There's a very, very interesting article on the Jackson Art website all about watercolor paper. If you want to know a lot more about it, I would recommend that you go and look there. The cotton gives the surface the appropriate textures and minimizes the distortion when wet. Watercolor paper also has sizing added, which stops it being as absorbent as unsized paper, and this allows the watercolor paint a little time to be absorbed and helps give us the beautiful effects that we so treasure. There are different types of sizing that are used, and they create different effects, and you can read all about this as well on the Jackson website if you'd like to. I'll put a link to the website in the more information beneath this video. Watercolor painting's extremely old, dating perhaps back to the cave paintings of Paleolithic Europe, and it's been used for manuscript illustration since at least Egyptian times. This is a very old watercolor painting from the cave paintings of Paleolithic Europe. It's been used for manuscript illustration since at least Egyptian times, and with particular prominence in the European Middle Ages. However, its continuous history as an art medium begins with the Renaissance. In the 15th and 16th centuries, the advancement of paper making brought about an increase in the art form. In the Middle Ages, the watercolors were used to paint miniatures, and this developed from the elegant paintings that they used to do the illuminated manuscripts. And a famous Middle Ages painter of miniatures is Nicholas Hilliard, and this is a picture that he painted. It's very beautiful, and it's actually amazingly bright still. Something that I found very interesting in doing this research is that a name that we all as colorists today recognize as belonging to some of the best watercolor pencils that are available, although those are put out by Faber-Castell, called the Albrecht Dürer watercolor pencils. And Albrecht Dürer himself was an artist in the Renaissance. He lived from 1471 to 1528, and he was also a printmaker. And so when the availability of synthetic pigments increased, he developed new methods of working with watercolor paints, highlighting the new luminous transparent effects that the paint medium offered. This painting is by him, and it's called Die Hase, which is German for the hair. Isn't it beautiful? So detailed. I just love it. So, later on, the English school of watercolor painting in the 18th century developed, and one of the well-known painters was Paul Sandby. He was actually an English map maker, and he used watercolor paints in the creation of maps. The well-known painter Turner, of whom this is one of his paintings, experimented with available synthetic mineral pigments and started painting with the watercolors in a large format. Prior to that, they had been used ladies and gentlemen out in the fields doing landscape paintings and for miniatures and things like that. And Turner was one of the first to actually do large paintings that were framed and hung in homes. And then there's another English or British watercolorist with a name that we know quite well if we've done any watercoloring, and that is Cotman. His name of Cotman is used in the brand Winsor & Newton for their student brand watercolor paints called Winsor & Newton Cotman paints. And here's a beautiful painting by him. It is called The Bridge. And I think it's so interesting to see the difference in style between that of Turner and Cotman, who lived probably fairly close to each other in years. I need to actually do a bit more research and be certain of their dates. But if you look at this other painting by Turner, this one, and then you look at The Bridge by Cotman, you can see that Cotman's painting is more precise and more illustrative in a way than Turner's, which is looser and more emotive. So I find that interesting. And there is so much more to learn about watercolor painting, and there are so many absolutely gorgeous artists and such beautiful artwork out there to enjoy and to view. And today, we are really blessed with having the internet available and our good friend Mr. Google, and so we can research and have a look at the most gorgeous things just from the comfort of our own homes and our mobile devices or our iPads or our computers. And I would really, if you're interested, suggest that you just have a look at some things. They make you feel in a really good frame of mind. There are so many different styles, and I haven't shown any of the floral paintings today. That's another one by Turner. But there are floral paintings, and there are all sorts of beautiful styles that one can do. And I think the more you paint, the more you develop your own style. I personally don't feel as if I've developed my own style at all just yet, and I'm working on painting, and surely one of these years I'll realize what works for me and what is my actual style. But I suspect, much like music, it continues to develop the more you work. So I'm going to be putting up another video either later today or next week on the materials you need to start your watercolor journey. So until then, I bid you good day, and I wish you a happy, colorful, restful week. Bye-bye now, and thanks so much for watching.